Morning, guys. Welcome. So, I don't know if you guys have ever done a talk at a conference, but about 3 months before you do the talk, they'll ask you for a topic. Thing is, in crypto, like 3 months is a lifetime. Like the topics that I would have spoken about 3 months ago versus the topics that we have today are two completely different topics. So as I was researching, I was like, okay, well, I'll do a talk on the banana zone because everyone just wants to hear about how prices are going to go up, right? Only thing is, I do that on my channel every single day. And like, if you want to know what my views are on the markets, I've held the same view on the markets for like quite a while. My view is pretty simple. Number one, I don't think the bull market's over. I think that when everybody thinks that the bull market's over, that's when we're going to get the next leg up of the bull market. I think the 4-year cycle is dead, and I think it's going to become a 5 or 6 year cycle. And I think that we are going to chop here, and I think that we're going to sweep the lows. I made a video, but I think I'm going to skip the video just in the interest of time. Or maybe I won't. Yeah. So then they phoned me again, like, what do you want me to talk about, guys? And I was like, all right, let's talk about how to pump your favorite tokens, because everybody wants to know like how to make number go up, because we're all in this industry because of number go up. But actually, in all seriousness, I want to talk about a very serious topic. I want to talk about the topic of influence and why influence is so important in crypto. Because there's a lot of things around influence that people don't understand. They think that influence is for influencers. And they think that influence is about shilling tokens. And it's really, really, really not that. If you think of what influence is at its core, influence is the ability to change the way that people act or transact. It's the ability to take attention and to funnel that attention into a certain direction or a certain place, which will ultimately change the way that people act or transact. So, why is influence important in crypto? We're a tech industry. Why is influence important in a tech industry? The first reason why it's important is because I'm seeing you guys do stupid things. And we need to stop this. The second reason, lots of stupid things. The second reason why influence is so important in crypto is because we're in a tech industry. And our industry is all about networks. We are here because we support networks. Bitcoin is a money network. Ethereum is a supercomputing network. A very slow supercomputing network, a very expensive supercomputing network, but nonetheless, it's a network. The reason why I got into this game is because I believe that networks are the most important business propositions in the world. WhatsApp is a network. The more people that join the network, the more valuable the network becomes exponentially. Influence is also a network, believe it or not. How do we define a network? It's pretty simple. Anything where the value of a network increases exponentially with every new user is a network. I'll give you a very simple example, right? Your name is? Wilson. So, if Wilson and I are the only 2 users on WhatsApp, I can call Wilson, Wilson can call me. 2 calls, right? But if I add Amy, my chief of staff, to the network, now there's 3 of us in the network. I can call you, you can call me. I can call Amy, she can call me. You can call Amy and she can call you, but don't call Amy, okay? That's 6 calls. We added 1 user to the network, we got 6 calls. That is what the effect of adding a new user to a network growing exponentially. Every user we add to Bitcoin network, the value of the network increases not by 1 user, but exponentially, because there's more people to trade with, right? Every user we add to the Ethereum network. So we're in this industry because we all believe in networks. And influence is a network. And most people don't appreciate why influence is a network. If you have influence, you can get people to buy things. You can get people to use things. You can get people to sell things. You can get people to try things. You can get people to invest in things. And if you're really, really, really good, you can get people to influence other people, to buy things, to sell things, to invest in things, to try things. Influence is an asset. You all know the definition of an asset, right? An asset is something that is owned by a person or company, and it has value. It can generate future cash flow, which you can use to meet commitments. Influence is an asset. The only thing about this asset, it's not for sale. I can't sell you my influence. If I have influence and you don't have influence, I can't sell you my influence. You can rent it from me. You can pay me to talk about something, and I'll use my influence. But it's very expensive, and it's probably ineffective. You can build influence, and you can spend influence. Influence is a currency. So I want to talk to you about this concept of influence as a currency and how you can build and spend influence. Now, you may say, hold on a second, but I don't want to be an influencer. Everyone's an influencer. Whether you're influencing your people at work to do certain things, whether you're influencing your customers to buy certain products, whether you're influencing your dev team to build something amazing, that's influence. People with lots of influence can influence people en masse. But everyone needs influence to get things done. Because remember, influence is effectively the ability to change the way people act or transact. Now, I want you guys to think about a formula. Influence equals attention times credibility. Make sense? If you have a lot of eyeballs, but you have no credibility, you can't influence people to do anything. If you have a lot of eyeballs and high credibility, you can influence anyone to do anything. If you have no eyeballs and high credibility, you actually do have influence. Fund managers don't have a lot of eyeballs on them, but when they make a move, that has a lot of influence, right? So let's talk about building and spending influence. And I want you to think about influence as a currency. I want you to think about it as every time you do something good, you build, and every time you do something bad, you spend. That is what you call the influence cycle. And it's applicable to being at the office. It's applicable to being an influencer. That's the influence cycle. How do you build influence? Pretty simple. You add value and you distribute value consistently. Because remember, influence is attention times credibility. Credibility, add value. Attention, distribute the value. You want to earn credibility in the workplace. You want to earn influence in the workplace. Add value consistently and distribute the value that you add. You want to earn value, you want to earn influence on social media, add value consistently and distribute it, because attention times credibility. Look at that. Steve Bartlett distributed value for 4 years, went from 36,000 views to 2.4 million views. He has attention, he has credibility, therefore he has influence. The second way that you can get influence is sending people to good places. If I send you and I tell you to buy a token and that token goes up, I get more credibility, right? Attention times credibility. If I sit here and I do a well-prepared talk on a stage, I gain credibility, right? And you guys are all looking, so I'm getting attention. Attention times credibility, I'm getting more influence here. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the influence. You can get influence by association. Associate, be around, interview, interact with high-influence people, and you get influence. And refer people to high-value places. If I give you a sleep hack, or I give you a money hack, or whatever else, you'll say, great, I did something good. You'll give me a credibility point. Influence is attention times credibility. So how do you do it? Create good content, have good ideas and spread them, do well-prepared talks on stages, be associated with higher credibility, higher attention people, and refer people to value-adding places. When you do that, you will build a stash of influence. Think of every time you do that, you build one unit, one currency of influence. When you build it, you got to spend it. How do you spend influence? Well, by referring someone to a bad place, you spend influence. If I give you 10 good calls in the market, and then I send you to a bad token, you're going to give me minus 10 points. Even though I gave you 10 good calls, you gave me plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, you're going to give me minus 10. The second way to spend influence is by referring people to advertisements. Because they know that it's an advertisement. And they know that that's how you pay the bills. So you create a whole lot of content. The influencer's life is about, I give you 10 units of great content, and in return, you allow me to share one ad with you. And that's okay. But if I give you 10 units of content and I share 3 ads with you, you won't watch me again. You'll say, he's a shiller, right? So doing that, you can destroy influence. Sending people to bad places, you can destroy influence. And the ratio is not 1-to-1, as I mentioned to you. When I give you a good call, you give me 1 point. When I give you a bad call, you deduct 10 points from me. And so influencers are constantly trying to, and when I say influencers, again, I don't mean KOLs. I mean anyone, anywhere, in a workplace, anyone that needs to influence anybody else in a workplace. You're constantly trying to do good things and do as little as possible bad things. Why? Because influence equals attention times credibility. As you do good things, you get more credibility. As you do bad things, your credibility goes down. Because it's a multiplier and not 1 plus 1, it's 2 times or whatever it is, a multiplier, the effect is exponential. Steve Bartlett, 4 hours of podcast, 14,516 seconds. 60 seconds of ads. Right? You have to earn the right to spend. Every time you do something good, you get a point. Every time you do something bad, you subtract a lot of points. Every time you say something good, you earn a point. Every time you refer to an advertiser, you get minus 10 points. The ratio is not 1-to-1. Let's talk about what influence does. There's 2 parts to an influence cycle. The first part is the building. You get into a new workplace. No one knows who you are. You go onto YouTube for the first time. No one knows who you are. And you've got to gain influence. Right? What do? You do credible things and you tell everyone about them. Attention times credibility. Do good stuff at work, build good shit, distribute your good shit around the office. Oh, you got to say shit at this conference. Well, it doesn't matter. And you gain influence. The first part of any influence cycle is gaining influence. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Neuner, Crypto Man Run. 3 or 4 years ago, I started a crypto media channel. Today, it's the biggest crypto media channel in the world. For the first 2 years, we did not run one ad. We did not have a single sponsor. Because all we were doing was building our credibility stash. Why was it credible? Because people knew I wasn't shilling them anything, because I didn't have sponsors. Right? I just streamed. I just added value. What did I do? I built a stash of value. And that's how the influence cycle works. First, you do good shit. You build up your stash of currencies. And then later on in the cycle, when you got a lot of cash, you spend it. How do we spend or leverage influence? What do we do with it? Why do we need it? There's 3 phases in influence. You spend the beginning of your life building influence, and later you spend the rest of it spending influence. And most people eventually walk away with nothing. Why? Because phase 1 of influence is sponsorships. You build influence, and you spend your influence by shilling ads. And it's cool because the market forgives you. They say, you know what, Steve Bartlett, you don't really believe in the ads that he's selling you, but you know what, he's going to give you 4 hours of great value in a podcast. It's cool, he can give me an ad, and I'll forgive him. If he gave you 10 ads, you wouldn't forgive him, right? You would like, I'm not watching this. So the first thing that you do is you do sponsorships. You promote other people's product, and you get paid. And you spend all your credits on promoting other people's products, and you spend your influence credits, and you walk away with a pocket full of money. And that's the beginning of the influencer life cycle. Because you need the money to pay your bills. Steve Bartlett needed the money to get producers, offices, new mics, podcast setups, etc., etc. But then you land up having enough cash flow and enough money. And you move to the next part of spending your influence. And here what you do is you spend your influence on things like partnerships. So you go to a brand and you say to the brand, listen, if you want me to promote wrecked water, I'll do that. I don't want you to pay me, but if I sell 1 million bottles, I want to own 5% of the company. Right? And so what you've done is you've converted influence into equity. Phase 1, influence into money. Phase 2, influence into equity. And phase 3 of influence is when you say, you know what? I don't need to promote this water. I don't need to promote an insurance company. I'm going to launch my own product. I'm going to launch my own water. And I'm going to promote my own water. And that's phase 3, which is ownership. And if you look at like the ultimate influencer probably in the world, Mr. Beast, he started off promoting SIM cards, insurance companies, car rental companies, you name it. Because he needed the money so he could fund his productions. But then when he made a lot of money, what he did was he said, you know what, no, I'm going to partner up with these toy companies, and I'm going to own a share in these toy companies. And the third thing that he did was he actually said, you know what, screw this. I'm going to start my own chocolate brand. And now if you watch a Mr. Beast video, all he cares about is his own brand. And what he's doing is he's taking all the influence that he built up in all those years, and he's now spending it on his own brand. And you know why? Because the market doesn't forgive you for shilling your own brand. You're basically burning influence credits. When you stand up and you say, hey guys, buy my water, it's the best water in the whole world. The market doesn't trust you, right? It's your water, you're promoting, you own it. Obviously, you own it. Of course you're shilling this. You own it. Every time I buy it, you make a profit. So you spend your influence credits. And what normally happens is you get these massive influencers. As soon as they swap from partnerships to sponsorships to eventually ownership, their influence dies, but the brands actually gain value. So the reason why I want to show you this is because I want to show you that influence is a currency. And you've got to be very, 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 very smart about how you spend your currency. I'm talking to you in the big scheme of things, but think about this when you're dealing with your customers, when you're in the workplace and you're dealing with your devs. Be careful how you spend your influence, because you can't get it back. You have to be able to convert it into something that's valuable. Mr. Beast converted his influence into a $5 billion empire. I mean, his last raise was at $1.8 billion, and I think that the business is probably valued at $5 billion. One of his biggest investors is Chamat. What is Chamat investing in here? He's investing in Mr. Beast's ability to convert influence into equity or into products. And he believes that Mr. Beast can take his influence and his influence creating platforms and convert that into equity or into his own products. And that's why he's willing to pay $5 billion. He's not paying $5 billion because of the sponsorship revenue that's coming in. If you have influence, let me tell you, from someone who never had influence and then got into a position where I ran the world's first televised crypto show on CNBC, started Banter, we've got a fan base of millions and millions and millions of people worldwide. When you have influence, it's the best currency in the world. It's insane. Because not only is it insanely valuable, but it creates more opportunity. I mean, look at Steve Bartlett and everything that he's investing in. Why do you think he gets those opportunities? Because everyone wants his influence on their cap table. So remember I told you that influence is a network? The more opportunity you get, the more visible you become. The more visible you become, the more opportunity you get. The more opportunity you get, the more visible you become. And so influence is a network. It's a cycle. If you have influence, you can trade it for the best experiences in the world. I'm a F1 fan. I'm a big F1 fan. There's not an F1 driver that I haven't met or spent time with. There's not an F1 car that I haven't sat in. It's because I'm an influencer. And I can trade my influence credits for experiences. And guess what? Every time I trade my influence credits for an experience with Max Verstappen or Checo or Daniel Ricciardo, I actually gain influence because it's influence by association. You see how the cycle works? The more influence you have, the more opportunities you get. The more opportunities you get, the more influence you get. Right? You see how it works? That's why you can't discount the value of influence. Now, again, I say to you, I know that you guys are not maybe all YouTubers or big people on Twitter or whatever else, but influence is everywhere. It's how we interact with people in the workplace. When you think about your microcosm of an office, having influence can provide you with opportunities in the office. Opportunities to meet the exco, be with the exco, meet investors, interact with investors. As you do, you become more and more influential because you gain more and more credibility. As you do, you're going to have more and more and more and more influence. Because influence is a network. And as you can see, when you get into the network, it becomes a self-perpetuating cycle. The more I spend time with my friends, Raoul Paul or whatever else, the more credibility I get, and the more credibility I get, the more these people want to meet me because, hey, we've seen him everywhere. He's all, So that's what I wanted to show you today. I wanted to show you the world of influence. You can do so much with it. You can change the way people act or transact. You can get people to buy things. You can get people to invest in things, to try things, to sell things. And if you're a really, really, really good influencer, you'll be able to get other people to influence other people. A couple of rules, if you want to do it. Number one, create value consistently. Creating value once actually does damage. Why? Because the player that goes on the field and scores one goal is not credible, not consistent. You want credibility? Add value consistently. Every time you get on the field, score a goal. You become reliable as a source of credible information or whatever it is. Number two, be visible. Whether it's in a meeting in the workplace, or whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on YouTube, be visible. Put yourself out there. We're in an age where people are talking about creator economies. Put yourself out there. Number three, associate with influence. Because as you saw, the more you associate with influence, the more influence you actually get. Even in the workplace. Number four, don't do stupid things. Because if you do stupid things, you get very negative points. And that's where most influencers actually fail. You know where most influencers fail? Because they're trying to get so much attention, they're constantly pushing the boundaries between being credible and not being credible. Like, I've seen influencers that first start streaming, they don't get the views, they take off their shirt, they stream topless. You get what I'm saying? The last thing is, you need to remember that if you have influence, it's a privilege, and you need to use it wisely. Make sure that you don't send people to stupid places. Make sure that you don't influence people. Remember, influence is the ability to change the way people act or transact. If you send them to the wrong places, if you send them to non-credible places, if you send them to do bad things, you know what happens? You lose your credibility. Your credibility goes to zero. And that means that no matter how much attention you have, when you times it by zero, you have no influence. So hopefully today I've used the opportunity to change the way that you guys are going to act or maybe transact. And hopefully I've gained some influence by being here on the stage. And hopefully I've given you guys a guide as to how amazing the world of influence can be if you play your cards correctly. Thank you very much.